Hi, I'm Will Bruin, and I was just recognized as a Seattle Sounders legend. Now I get to do voice reads for the Sounder at Heart podcast network.
Here we go. Come on! Hey, O'Shan! Let's go!
The Seattle Sounders have done it! MLS Cup winners! The Sounders rule the region! Seattle Sounders is campeón! All creatures great and small.
Rothrock going to collect it. He does just about. Runs into the advertising awning. Low to our left. Ball goes in. Oh, what a cross! And what a goal!
Where's my copy?
I got a bunch of them in the car. I'll get you some.
You're handing them out for free already.
How many
cost on them?
$50.
I'll Venmo you.
This episode of Nos Arietes is sponsored by Full Pull Wines, a Seattle-based wine retailer and proud sponsor of Nos Arietes since 2011. Full Pull was founded in 2009, is based in Seattle, and is owned and operated by longtime Sounders supporters. They offer the best boutique wines of the world to members of their mailing list, with special focus on their home, the Pacific Northwest. Welcome back to another episode of Nos Arietes on the Sounder at Heart Podcast Network. Joining me today at our beautiful headquarters in the International District is Connor Cayson of Find Me in Seattle. You're a local content creator, I guess is the easiest way to say it, but you are out there telling the stories of people in the community. And the main reason I wanted to have you on is this series that you have going on with the World Cup, where you're handing out these, I guess they're beacons? Sea beacons. And sort of you're in the process meeting a lot of not soccer people who are gearing up for this World Cup. And before we get into all that, though, I guess I should say thank you for coming on. And
yeah, happy to be on your show.
Yeah, I am a follower of yours on Instagram. That's another thing. You should, if you don't know, Connor is all over Instagram.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever a video is posted, you'll probably
and I've loved that you've done a fair amount of Sounder stuff too.
Yeah, I'm a Sounder season ticket holder. I've been a season ticket holder since 2011.
Woo, look at that.
And I've been lucky enough to collaborate directly with them, where they've actually hired me to make videos about my experience going to games, and it's an opportunity I know not a lot of people get. And so for them to be like, oh, like, well, send us an invoice to make this video about going to the game has been just like dream come true for a season ticket holder.
Well, so before we get into the World Cup stuff, how has it been being a content creator in Seattle, where there seems to be a lot of what is now, I guess, just generically called content creation?
Yeah, I became self-employed in 2018 and started this content creator agency that I run. And back then, everyone was like, "You're a what?" Like, the content creator thing wasn't a thing. And now anyone with a cell phone who takes pictures of their food or literally just sticks up the selfie camera that talks to their phone, they are a content creator. And so now, like, everyone gets the ick by that, because right, like, the thing to do is you get laid off from your job and you're like, I'm gonna try this content creator thing. And but no, like, I actually like make a really good living making content. And I don't only make content for myself, but my primary income is I make content for other people. So I work with businesses, from real estate agents to grocery stores to doctors, restaurants, everything. And I make short form videos on my phone for them.
And so I guess that is probably what differentiates you. I would imagine a lot of the content creator folks are just sort of like a solo brand that are they're just using their own platform as a way of promoting themselves or other businesses potentially, but that it's a lot of, it's not necessarily what you sound like you are in a lot of ways is a sort of a modern ad agency.
Yeah. Ad agency. I mean, people have said journalist. I would say like lowercase j journalist. And I get told a lot like, oh, you're a storyteller, right? Because I do a lot of food. I do a lot of stories about restaurants, but I don't necessarily get lumped in with like the foodie community. There's plenty of creators now in Seattle who are like, this is the new hot restaurant. Like this the best pizza in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I kind of stay away from that narrative.
Right. Which, hey, I love that stuff too.
Yeah.
But it's just not your your avenue necessarily.
It was my avenue at one point, but as times have changed, I don't have where I'm lucky is I don't feel the need to be in the rat race. Social media now is about posting 4 times a day,
yes,
and fighting the algorithm and just finding something that pops, and then the 3 other things are kind of just like whatever.
Right.
I've done that before. I kind of like started my career of like need to post every day about a new business.
Oh man.
But now I'm much more on like almost like creating a piece of art, telling a really good story.
It's like the story of Sounder at Heart, honestly.
Yeah.
We started out, I mean, I'll be honest, when Sounder at Heart first started out, we were very much part of the aggregator sort of world, and we don't do a lot of aggregation anymore, in part because it's become a much more crowded space. But it also allows us to tell bigger stories, launch a magazine, doing things like that. Yep. So I can really appreciate that. That said, I do have a question, and you don't do this content a lot, but I'm curious if you understand why it exists. The sitting in a car talking to your camera. Why is sitting in your car and talking to a camera such a popular way of doing this? Is there like an actual algorithm trick in that?
No. Well, first, the sound is really good in your car.
Oh,
so
okay.
Doing a podcast in your car makes sense. The pandemic changed a lot of things because people like I had a podcast with my wife. We had a show that we recorded every weekend. This was before I had kids. And we called it Dim Sum Days.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd come down here to the CID. We'd pick up dim sum to go because we couldn't eat it at the restaurants.
Yeah.
And then we would just eat it in the car and talk about the food and like talk about our week and like BS. We'll talk about whatever. And
I didn't know that you did that. So that was
that was like 2020 when everyone was figuring out what are we going to do for content.
Yeah.
And that was like just a fun pet project that my wife and I experimented with. I think we did like 12 episodes. But it sounds really good.
Yeah.
It's easy to do. But I just like that's the current state of social media right now.
Right.
It's like if a lot of women are, as they're doing their makeup, they're telling their story, right? Or he came to Seattle and he had that fish.
I know you're talking about.
I'm blanking on his name, but he always sits in his car and eats the food. And so I think there's also this genre of content of people driving through, picking up food, eating in their car and talking. And it's just like an easy place that's contained. Because there are times where I will be filming a video in a restaurant and like people are super unhappy with you.
Sure.
Or
like you didn't have permission to do this.
Yeah. Or please, they do not say please, but like, don't film me. I don't give you permission. Why are you filming in here? People, get like really scared.
Yeah.
But now everybody's filming everywhere. So it's just kind of the nature of being out in public, sadly. But yeah, I think just being in your car is a private space. That sounds good and easy to edit.
All right. Well, that answers that, I suppose. So getting into the World Cup of it all, you have, how many of these beacons have you given out? And if people don't know what they are, how would you describe them?
Yeah. So the sea beacons are these whale flukes, little whale tails. They're little neon signs that they're like 18 inches by 18 inches.
Saw one today when I went to Hood Famous for coffee.
I dropped that one off last week for them. And I believe they made 500 of these beacons.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of them. And I was hired on to deliver 35 to 40 of the beacons to selected businesses.
And they selected or that you?
It's been a mix. So a lot of these beacons, all the beacons were donated, purchased by the sponsors, Microsoft, F5, Wajimaya bought some.
Yeah, there's a huge one at Wajimaya.
Yes, we'll get to the big one too.
Okay.
And so they bought these small ones, and then they chose, hey, we want them to go to these businesses based off whatever their initiatives are. And so those are all like being distributed. And these neon whale tails, they are super cool. They're made here locally.
They are.
By Western Neon down in Soto.
Western Neon, which I just found out, is owned by the parent of a Sounders Academy player.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
a current player.
A current player for the Academy, which I won't. I don't need to dox anybody, but I got an email from this person because we misspelled their name, and it was signed, and they had a Western Neon in their signature, and so I was like, wait a minute, is this person? And it turns out they're the owner of Western Neon. Wow. So anyway, that was a funny little side story. But anyway.
Well, and they're like a historic business.
Yeah, they are.
They did the original Rainier R that's up on the brewery there,
and they aren't the original owners, but they have been owning it since 2012 or something.
And they if you go into their place, it's really cool. It's like a museum of neon.
Yeah.
From Cafe Vita to what was it's not Four Seasons. But yeah, just all different local brands.
Yeah.
And so they were hired on to make these sea beacons. They're all handcrafted. So every little piece is done in their shop, from the design portion, fabrication, blowing the glass, filling it with neon. It's all done in-house, which is really cool. Like, oh, these were actually made locally, like by real people. They're handmade. They're all individually numbered. So every business who's getting one, like, oh, I have number 273 or whatever it is. Yeah, and they're just like a cool way to connect all the businesses. They're part of a larger initiative called the Unity Loop. They also have the Pride Loop. These are paths that they want people to follow to go support all these different businesses while they're here visiting for the World Cup.
And so when you've gone into these businesses, have you started to get a sense of how local businesses are receiving the World Cup? What kind of anticipation level there is?
Yeah, well, it was really funny because since all the beacons were donated, there wasn't necessarily the communication of like, hey, this guy Connor's going to come give you this beacon.
So you show up and they're like, what is this?
Well, so I get this list of like, all right, here's our target list of the people we want you to go deliver beacons to and make a video about them. And so I create like a templated email and I reach out to everyone. And some people are like, cool, I'll see you on this day. Great. Other people just ignore email after email after email. And I'm trying to change the verbiage. Like, hey, like this is free. It's donated to you.
There's all this is promotion.
Yes. And so it's been a process of getting everyone to be excited or trust that I'm coming in. I think a lot of businesses, you're a business owner, you get so much.
Oh my God.
Things for sale, scams, just like outreach in general, asking for things. And so I think a lot of the business owners are just like skeptical, like, who are you? And I'm reaching out for my work email. So, right. Like I'm not Connor at the World Cup, right? I'm just Connor at Find Me in Seattle. And so there's kind of that credibility gap that people are like, who are you? And what are you doing? But as I've gone through, by the time the video's done, people are very excited about it because it is cool. Like, wow, you're getting this like unique handmade piece of art that is connecting the whole city together and trying to build anticipation and excitement for this World Cup. I think me delivering that has made these business owners more excited about like, oh, like look at this cool thing that they included me on. The big thing is I think the organizing committee has done a great job on like involving the community and the businesses and trying their best to make everyone feel like, hey, this is like a thing we're doing as a city and it's not just FIFA coming in and doing the show. I will say this from my experience with FIFA, and it was eye-opening, especially during the Club World Cup last year, was I think in the same way that this year has been, you don't know what to expect in some ways. It's like, look, I know what the World Cup is. We didn't necessarily know what the Club World Cup was in the same way, but there was this sort of like hype versus reality that weren't meeting up. And once the game started getting played, it was like, oh no, this is actually pretty cool. I still thought the tickets were, originally overpriced back then. But when I went to a game, I've told this story many times, but I went to the Irwa Red Diamonds versus River Plate game. Yes. And there was two large fan groups from each side, and they were so excited, so loud, so boisterous. It was like, even though there's only 20,000 people in the stadium, it felt so energetic and awesome. And I was like, man, this is what the Club World Cup should be. And honestly, the way that FIFA ran things in the stadium was impressive. And it all felt very like high class, and it like they knew what they were doing, even if it was different and felt sometimes overdone. You could tell that they had done this before and they knew how to do it. And I kind of feel like when the World Cup is going to be the same way, where it's like there's a lot of silly hoops that we have to jump through, and there's a lot of annoying things. But once it's here, it is still the World Cup, and it's still run how you would expect a top class sports event to be run. And I feel like the beacons are sort of like indicative of this, where sure, you don't know what it is and you don't really know what you're getting into. But then once you get it, it's like, oh no, this is actually a pretty cool piece of art.
I'm glad I have it. Doesn't seem to be really any strings attached to it. This is awesome. But like, there's this initial skepticism that you have to get through. And I don't know, it's interesting. That to me tells a somewhat interesting story about the way that the World Cup is showing up in Seattle.
Yes. And when it comes to World Cup, I think there's going to be the stadium experience, and then there's going to be the experience that happens so many businesses are trying to activate, whether they've got screens going, or obviously there's the fan sites that are happening. There is going to be like two different parts of the World Cup in the city, right? Because the stadium, I don't know how many of those games are sold out. I believe tickets are still available.
I don't think any of them are sold out.
Yeah.
I mean, for like maybe the US Australia game might be, but the sense I get is that there are varying degrees of many to some tickets left for every game.
And so the question is, that week of, our ticket price is going to go down, or are they just going to leave the seats empty?
Right.
Which, I mean, it's a TV product, so maybe they're not too worried about it, right? They just know people around the world are going to watch. And so they might not even be that worried about selling the tickets. Maybe. Or they priced them all so high that if the prices are 5 times higher, you can sell 5 times less tickets.
You would think at the very least that the secondary market, which is still, there's a lot of tickets on the second. Whether or not FIFA has sold their tickets, there are plentiful tickets for every game.
Yeah.
They're all very expensive, but you have to think at some point the secondary market,
they're going to be the ones.
Those are the ones that are going to have to just cut their prices, because these are real. I mean, whether or not they're real people, they are real organizations that spent real money to buy these tickets.
Yes.
And they're going to want to get something.
They're going to want something back, right? Especially if they don't live here.
Right.
And they're not going to the game, and flights are expensive right now too. So it's been a very messy storm timing of this whole thing.
And it is, I don't know, it's been very interesting. That whole part of it is because you have, like, I don't know that in some ways, the last World Cup, the last 2 World Cups were similar, where there was all this sort of frustration and anger about, Russia is going to be this way and Saudi Arabia is going to be that way, or not Saudi Arabia, Qatar is going to be this way. And then at the end of the day, the tournament happened and people came or they didn't. But the people that were there almost always said that they had a good time, and they, it ends up going off and it ends up being what it is. And so the negative press that surrounded the World Cup coming into this is not new. Like, you don't have to think that hard to remember. Basically every story coming out of Qatar was, the human rights violations. Yeah. This is all being built with slave labor. And this is all true. But then at some point the games happen and people watched for the most part. And I think in that way, it's a similar story. But the difference here is that the government seems to be going out of its way to make this tough.
Yes.
There's the ICE thing, which seems like it is not as that has died down a little bit. But then there's this whole air travel situation. Yeah. There's wars going on that are changing the cost of everything. And it's like a perfect storm of negativity that's surrounding this that does make me wonder how much people are going to be able to put aside. I don't doubt that this will still get the best ratings ever, because it always does.
Yeah. I mean, ratings wise, everyone's going to watch it on TV.
Yeah.
And with all those race costs, everyone's going to be home. Right. Like, people are traveling so much less. So,
the
TV ratings might be even higher. And we're in interesting windows, right? Like, so many of the games here in Seattle are at noon.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting. I assume. I mean, so many people are going to watch it no matter what. And then as the later rounds get in, I think those kickoffs are 6 p.m. our time.
Right.
I think the round of 16 is 5 p.m. here in Seattle.
I think that's right.
There's going to be
which could be Belgium, USA, which would be unbelievable if that's ended up there's a possibility of that being the draw for that game.
That's a long way away for USA.
It's a long way away.
And for Belgium.
And for Belgium. Yeah.
And so the other thing I was going to mention is Seattle got a tough draw when it comes to tourism. Everyone had a lot of hopes. Australia could have brought a ton of people.
Well, Australia is here.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, yeah.
But with the political situation, traveling from Australia is so expensive right now. And so I think there's a big decline
that's
of
interesting.
What was expected for the Australians to travel here. We have I don't know if we have a large Australian community. There's going to be plenty of Australian people.
Well, I mean, we're a large enough Australian community that there is a Aussie bar in Ballard, which I believe is another one
for them.
Yeah, you made a beacon for them. Exactly. Which I didn't actually, it was funny because I had been to the Kangaroo and Kiwi at its original location on over by Green Lake.
Yeah.
And that was, I guess, during the 2010 World Cup. And I think I watched a New Zealand game there, maybe. But it was, I still have never been into their new location.
Oh, really?
And I didn't know like really any of the story. I just happened to go there one time.
It's quite a place.
Yeah, it is. And it's been around for a long, I mean, it's got to be a 15-year-old company.
15 something years. Yeah. And
that's wild. Right. Was it there for the 2010 World Cup? It must have, I mean, it has to be at least 15 years old.
Yeah. And they've expanded so much. I mean, they have like a whole wraparound outdoor space.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
The Australia and New Zealand games are going to be mania there.
Oh,
like,
I imagine.
Going to be one of the best viewing spots. Like for those games, especially, are going to be just madness.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the US Australia game does seem like there's some real buzz around that. I know we're going to be hosting a whole day event at Fast Fashion over in Soto, and we're going to be doing like a sort of like a mixer thing the night before over in Project 9 in Maple Leaf. And there does seem to be a lot of anticipation for that. One of the other things I'm kind of just curious about is if Belgium ends up getting adopted as sort of like the next team, because they play one of their group stage games here. They're obviously based in Renton. Then they play another game in Vancouver. And then they're potentially going to play their first 2 knockout stage games in Seattle as well. And I could very easily see the people of Seattle just sort of adopting Belgium.
Like, that's our team.
Exactly.
And so who's signing for the Sounders off of Belgium?
Exactly. That's the big question. That's the big question.
Get Telemans or something like that.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
I mean, that's
Adrian, get on that.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll score some goals for us.
Right. Exactly. But I don't know, are you getting any sense of among the people, like whether is there a buzz building?
There's definitely a buzz because all the businesses are now like in that preparation phase. Like, are we changing our menus? Are we hosting events? Are we buying screens so we can be showing them? Everyone's starting to think about that, but there's such a skepticism because people really don't know.
And they got kind of burned last summer too.
So that's the big thing, especially down in this isn't South Seattle, the downtown Pioneer Square.
I mean, roughly.
Well, I live in South Seattle.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
And
you're saying this is like central Seattle.
This is Seattle.
Yeah. Okay.
And the CID, there obviously the Club World Cup was like a test run, but it was a test run for security.
Exactly.
Right. And the security was insane. And I assume like they prepped and they had the security outside of the stadium, right? Like the harbor was shut down and everything, right?
I know
like,
the thing that struck me about the Club World Cup was how many volunteers there were for a relatively small number of there was not a single crowd that approached a Seahawks game, and the crowds were much more.
The PSG game must have.
I mean, there were no sellouts.
No sellouts. Okay,
no.
That stadium seemed very full though.
I mean, it was for the Sounders PSG game. It was like over 60,000. I mean, it was okay. So to say it didn't approach,
but
it
but they handle the
Seahawks
mania of the Seahawks game
every week,
10 weeks a year.
Exactly, 10 weeks a year, and so. Most of the games felt much more like a Sounders game where there are no volunteers, basically like they have security staff, but it's like a normal event. And for every game, it was a sea of people ready to help you do whatever you needed to help you. They're like the I will say, I love the wayfinding, and I love some, like, I thought it was really cool. Like, this, the bike trail thing that they sort of like propped up out that goes out over by where I live. There is some cool stuff that's here, and I am curious to see how much of that ends up being useful for this tournament.
Well, and people who didn't go to the Club World Cup who might be going to the World Cup, the security's so different.
Oh my god!
Because we do security through that north entrance.
Right. They have a whole setup of like of what do they call? You walk through turnstiles. Thank you. God damn it.
It's that whole process was completely different, and that's what the trial was. So back to the original question was there just wasn't the attendance wasn't high, right? Only the 3 Sounders games did anyone really go to, and the games with Red Diamonds or whatnot, those supporter groups like would go to one spot and do their thing, but there wasn't this big influx of people supporting all these businesses,
right?
And so that's kind of the same question now. Is there's all this preparation, but there's only 6 games. It's not actually that many games. Right. And the places that are popular will obviously be full, just like at any sporting event. But will there actually like be this flood And are people going to come for the other 30 days of the World Cup?
Well, and that's the thing I keep in just like casually talking to people. There's this sense of, well, should I leave town for a month because of this? Like, is it going to be so crazy? Like, and that was like a year ago. That was the talk of like, I'm just going to get out of town because it's going to be crazy. And that is not, I don't think that is going to be issue. I would even say outside of maybe the game on the 19th, because there's a whole lot going on. It's not just the US Australia game. It's Juneteenth. Apparently there's like 2 cruise ships coming in. There's like a Mariners game. There's a whole bunch of things that are going on that day.
And everyone's off work and school's closed that day.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so like everyone's out.
Right. School have just gotten out on 2 days before that. Yeah. So it's the beginning of summer. Obviously, the solstice is going to be going on that weekend. So that the 19th,
crazy week.
That week will be or the days around that are going to be kind of crazy, I think. But outside of that, to me, it's like, look, if you are willing to drive through downtown on a Seahawks game, I don't see why you would be worried about it.
And the traffic by the stadium is crazy for the Seahawks games. But like the
traffic, a lot of that's even closed now.
Yeah,
it's going to be closed.
It's not like mayhem.
No.
And so these like noon kickoff games, right? Like the Belgium game on a Monday at noon. I think a lot of the corporations have already told their employees, like, don't come to work that day.
Right.
Avoid the traffic. And so it's like just going to be people. I think it's going to be a normal day because the amount of people who are actually going to come into the city for that game will probably be zeroed out by all the people who don't come to work that day. And so I think it'll be normal because I said this to you earlier, the Seahawks championship parade, everyone thought it was going to be crazy. Obviously, they switched the format this year, so it was better than the previous parade. But like, it wasn't that crazy.
No, I was down here and it was not. I mean, how did I even get down here? I guess we took the bus and it was like normal.
Yeah, it was manageable.
I mean, there was a lot of, obviously there was a lot of people.
And that was like 700,000 people on one day. I don't expect, I think they're saying 700,000 people over the whole World Cup, right? Over the month. So I don't think it's going to be that bad besides the closures on Pioneer Square.
Right.
Like, yeah, don't try to park on Pioneer Square. Yeah, it's probably
I think that's a good piece of advice. I am also really curious to see how the sort of defeat, because I don't know if people noticed this or not, but FIFA came out with their list of fan fests. And so I want to say 11 of the 16 cities had something represented in this fan fest. And one of the cities that was not represented in the fan fest was Seattle. But that does not mean that there's no official fan celebration. I think that's what they're calling it, fan celebrations that are happening in Seattle. In fact, there's 4 official spots. And then there's going to be obviously countless others all around town of sort of impromptu things that are going on. But have you learned anything about, and those are all part of the Unity Loop? Is that, like, do you know much about the Unity Loop?
I know a little bit. I don't know necessarily if all of the activations are on the Unity Loop, at least within the city, because I believe there's activations like in Everett. Also, there are events going on outside of the downtown Seattle area. And so, but the Unity Loop was mostly focused on connecting all of the businesses to go to those events. So yes, like they are, I'd say yes, they are part of it.
Okay. And are you getting, I mean, I don't know, do you have much sense of what's going on with these fan fests or these fan celebrations?
It's been kind of messy. I think that like they went back and forth for a while of what we were going to do. Cause it was like,
they did.
Seattle Center was on.
Yep.
And then, I wonder, I don't know, this is speculation. Like, was it going to be one big event at Seattle Center?
That was the impression I got.
Would have been epic.
Right.
And then they decided to split it all up and have smaller events around.
The impression I got, and maybe this is just my guessing, is that the idea of having the one big event was great if you thought there was going to be this influx of tourists who just wanted a place to gather and that they might be here throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
And I think once the reality of like the international tourism, like people might come for specific games, but the idea of an Australian coming here and being like, I'm going to live in Seattle for a month just is not, that's not happening.
Yes. Yeah. I think you're right. And the only games that are going to be crazy are going to be the USA games, right? Like, did you go to the watch party for the 2014 Belgium game?
Yes.
At WAMU.
Yes.
Right. Like WAMU was.
Yeah, there's hundreds of people there. It was crazy.
I mean, it was thousands of people. It was like all.
WAMU. It was full. You're right.
And so like
Siggy Schmid was there.
Was he?
Oh yeah.
R.I.P. Man, what a legend. That was like, whoa, that was the only big event of the World Cup, though.
Absolutely.
Right? Because I watched so much of the World Cup at George and the Dragon.
You and I probably crossed paths.
We
I
probably
bet.
did. And George and the Dragon was like busy,
right?
But it wasn't like that.
No,
and it wasn't what.
Speaking of which, did you see that they lost their liquor license or something?
And
For
they posted, they're like trying to get it back, but it's like, this is the biggest month of the 4 years every time for them.
I know.
And yeah, just a big slip up. So
hopefully they get it worked out, because that is a great place. I've watched lots and lots of World Cup games there, and it is a great place to win, because it's sort of like the default place where everyone goes. And so you can always, no matter who's playing, you can always expect to find at least a group of people who are super engaged.
Yeah, and they activate the whole parking lot.
Right, exactly.
I watched the opening game of the last World Cup, which was in the winter, right? So it was cold. So they had the tents.
Yeah.
Everyone was freezing. I think it was like early in the morning too. But yeah, but now people are way more prepared because the World Cup is here.
Yeah.
There's so many of those places. I think George and the Dragon's they're gonna do all right.
Yeah.
But there are so many places to go watch now.
Yeah, there are. I mean, and the one that I'm really intrigued by is the Pacific Place, which is one of the official ones. And they're going to do like a 3-story screen. And then there's going to be different levels, have different sort of like themes that they have going on.
Pop-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so and activating those shops.
I mean, it's kind of fun that there's going to be something going on at Pacific Place.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on.
There is not.
Place. And so the potential of that is very cool. I haven't seen it since it's like fully active. It's more like, where's everyone going to stand?
I know.
And watch it. It doesn't seem like there's that much space, especially on level 2, 3, and 4. But I'm not going to go to Pacific Place for the matches that are in Seattle, but that's a spot I'm going to stop by. I one of those obscure games, right?
Just
it's 9 o'clock and whoever is kicking off is like, I'll go stand in there and watch it on a big screen.
So the other local official spots are Victory Hall, which is right across the street from T-Mobile. It's the Mariners spot. There's the Pier, which is going to be separate but connected to the barge that the Sounders are sort of doing, which is you have to pay to get into the barge. Although I think with season ticket holders might be able to get some free tickets for that. But the Pier 62,
good luck, they might be sold out already.
Right.
I know one session sold out so fast.
I know. I just realized that that came out like a few days ago, and I'm sure it went very fast. But Pier 62 will be kind of neat. And then the Armory and Seattle Center is still doing something. It's just not the big, massive fan fest. And then, of course, Pacific Place. Anywhere else that you're sort of like intrigued by?
I just was at Rainier. The people at Rainier Square. That it's like that big curved glass building.
Oh yeah,
they have like this courtyard next to Fonte. And they're gonna be doing a pop up in the courtyard. Metier Brewing is gonna have screens doing.
Going in Central District.
I think that'll be like a fun place to watch. I believe Art Noir also in the Central District is doing something. They have a big Juneteenth celebration happening.
Oh, cool.
And then they also have another festival the day after Juneteenth. They do every year. So that's going to be an active neighborhood around that week.
Then Seattle Parks, I think, is also doing a whole bunch of activations.
I was not aware of
I just saw like a flyer random like around the community. I think Seattle Parks is doing like pop-ups basically at different.
I wonder if they're going to do like their movie night screens.
Oh, maybe.
And then play it on there. Doing a live feed on a pop-up screen is not super easy.
No, it's not.
And then, I mean, there's just
especially at noon.
I don't know if they're allowed, because FIFA's like really strict on who shows the games.
I know. And that's
how you stop someone from watching a game on broadcast television.
I know. I saw this whole thing about how they, like, especially like in some other countries, they were not allowed to advertise as showing World Cup games. They was just like, we're showing the soccer game.
We're showing the soccer game.
And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of that here. Although it would be interesting to see how FIFA goes about enforcing any of that, because obviously you can't tell people they can't show a game.
Yeah. Well, they're really strict. I have another partnership coming up with a brand that's associated with the World Cup. They're an official partner, and they are very strict about like, here is the language that you use. Like, it is FIFA World Cup 2026, right? Like, and and no abbreviating. Just, you're not calling it World Cup, you're calling it FIFA World Cup. And like they're very, very strict on their brand guidelines.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out. it is in some ways, especially as people who are so in soccer 365, this feels a little bit like the circus coming to town.
Yeah.
But I am excited to see how people connect to this, because everyone knows that it's going on. And, you know, I'm still trying to figure out how we're even going to cover this because it's like, look, it's not that useful for us to attract a bunch of people who will never read our website again.
Yeah.
But there are ways to connect to people who could potentially become readers. And, you know, like the magazine is a thing where that's an exception where it's like, look, I would love to be able to sell these to people who don't care what we are.
Yes.
But I don't know. I am fascinated by this. I think this is a really interesting experience. I will say that down near the stadium, like we can literally see the stadium from our office building. And so we're in an area that is going to be touched very much by the World Cup. And it feels, I don't know, it does feel like things are changing, and things are cleaned up, and we got a whole bunch of new light fixtures out on the street here and that are attractive. And Pioneer Square seems like it's getting there's a lot going on in Pioneer Square right now.
Pioneer Square has a huge activation. I probably should have mentioned that. But the people who own Home Team and Darkalinos,
okay,
they are activating like all of that Occidental Square area,
which is what they did for the Club World Cup too.
Yes, and so they're gonna have that giant stage where they have Shaquille O'Neal is doing a DJ set, which is like that's a big name.
Shaquille O'Neal, Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq Diesel is gonna be doing a DJ set at Occidental Square, basically, right?
Yes,
that's wild.
And that's gonna be every day. So I think like all the games are going to be watchable on an outdoor screen in Occidental Park right there.
That's wild.
So that if you can get down there, that'll be the big factor. But I think that's going to be like a really fun, complimentary environment to the game where maybe people who aren't going to the game are still like, I want to be part of this thing and go down and watch.
Well, I do hope people get over some of I get the skepticism is warranted. I understand, like, as someone who originally was planning on taking my kids and my wife was all excited about going to games, and she's been sort of like she's much more down on this than I am, I guess. But I understand the frustration, especially about ticket pricing and accessibility and all that stuff. But I also want to give people some permission to enjoy themselves at what is going to be a really cool civic event. Even if you're not going to the games, I would urge people to come down here and just check out everything that's going on, because I do think it is a once in a lifetime experience. It's something that a lot of people, in one of the stories that we wrote in our magazine is about the failed attempt to bring the 94 World Cup to Seattle, and how the foundation for what ended up attracting the World Cup this time was laid back then. And so a lot of people have put, 30 odd years of their lives into trying to make this happen. And I hope people give themselves the ability to enjoy some of it, even if it doesn't mean going to a game or buying tickets.
Yeah. And this is what happens with every World Cup is there's drama of some kind. There's all the issues with FIFA.
Yes.
Once the games kick off, like, people are into the football.
Exactly.
And so, and I think you're right. Like, I don't think the level of activation that's happening in Seattle, from the Sea Beacons to all of the different businesses getting involved and all these different viewing sites, this is not happening in other cities.
Well, and I think that's another thing that I oftentimes catch myself realizing is that there's us, there's Vancouver, there's Atlanta, kind of, but everyone else, or Philadelphia a little bit, but a lot of these stadiums are not in the city, and they are not like the city. Like, Seattle is really, the World Cup is happening in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's not happening in Bellevue or Kent or Rent or whatever. It's happening here, and so everything is. And I think that does change things, and I feel really lucky in a lot of ways that we get to have this sort of like urban experience. And I think a lot of visitors are going to come to Seattle and just be like, oh shit, this is an amazing city.
Yeah. Because if you're going to games in Philadelphia, who knows where you're staying? And then you have this crazy commute out. It's not going to be like the games are going to be like a flood of people going to the game, walking through the city, going from the waterfront, walking all the way down. Like, yeah, it's going to be a scene.
The waterfront, I'm a sucker, but I love the idea of people seeing the new Seattle waterfront and just being like, I had no idea that Seattle looked like this.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Like, I don't know, mountains out.
I mean, taking down the viaduct for how much it costs and how
probably
painful
worth it
was,
just for this.
Like, yeah, maybe just for this. Like, has really, like, it's incredible the change that's happened down there.
Absolutely. Well, Connor, I hope people check out your Instagram feed. That's Find Me in Seattle. Your YouTube. You're on TikTok. You're everywhere. Anything else you want to plug?
No. If you see me out, I'm gonna be watching as many games out publicly.
Big yellow back. If you see this yellow backpack, there's a good chance it's Connor.
Yes, I won't have this in the stadium, but most likely I'll have some type of yellow bag
out
on
in
me.
the community, maybe.
Out in the community for sure. Any day of the week. Please say hi, and I'll give you a sticker if you say hi. I always do that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this. We'll get out of here. I'm Jeremiah Shan. This is No Sadiatis, part of the Sounder at Heart Podcast Network, and we'll catch you next time.
Let's go Sounders.